All right, in today's video we're going to be building a bird feeder. Yeah, it's a nice simple project for the channel. Kind of like it. And a useful one, especially if you're into bird watching like my wife is. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and definitely hit that bell notification icon for all of our newest projects. But in the meantime, let's get to feeding the birds. Or the birds and the bees. Something like that. All right, let's go build this thing. Okay, cool. So for our first cut, we're going to go ahead and take our 6-inch board that we went ahead and measured out, made sure it's exactly 6 inches. And we're going to go ahead and cut it down to 8.5. Now, we're actually making 2 of these, so we're actually making this cut 4 times because you need 2 of these for it. So, all right, let's get cutting. All right, so now we have our 2 pieces for our sides of our birdhouse for each of the 2 birdhouses we're going to be making. And so we're going to go ahead and move on to the bottoms. Now the bottoms are actually going to be 12 inches long. So we're going to go ahead and readjust our stop block to 12 inches, and then we're going to go ahead and start cutting. So let's go ahead and get to that. All right, and here's our 2 bottoms for our 2 different bird feeders, and very minimal waste. So now we've got our stop block set up for 9 inches. We've got our board ready to go. So I'm actually going to take off the kind of crummy side of the board here where the knot is, just so that we have less knots involved in this project. I said knots aren't that big of a deal, but minimize them as much as you can, right? So we'll go ahead and cut this down here to 9 inches first. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and cut down the 2-inch segments. All right, so there we go. So now we have both of our sides. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do our 14 foot. Let's try that again. 14 inch. We're going to do our 14-inch cuts. There you go, got those set up. So now we'll go ahead and move on to the next part. Okay, so now we have our 4 3/4-inch board, approximately. This is the part we want to put against our rear fence here on our sled. By the way, if you guys don't have one of these sleds, I'll link a video to how we actually built this specific one. Okay, now you got our 2 roof lids for our 2 birdhouses. We just have one more piece to cut, which is the 1 1/2 at 14, and then we're done. So let's get that part done. So now we have our 14-inch board here. So now we just have to process this down to 1 1/2. And then take these 2 and get them ready for roof duty. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get the feeder part squared away. So how this works is that we need to first find the center, which is pretty darn easy because, well, we cut these 6 inches, so we just, as long as you were accurate, then it should be 3 inches should be your center. So we're going to mark 1 here at our center. Then we're going to go down about 4 inches. We're going to make another mark. This will all make sense in a minute, I promise you. Done with this side, we'll go over to the other side. Just flip it over, draw the line again, good to go. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and get this squared up, and we'll move on to the next part. So here's your basic shape right here. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and drill the dowel holes. Now we're going to be using a 1/4 inch dowel. Go ahead and do this on the drill press. You could obviously do this with a hand drill. That would work just as fine, but we're going to do it on the drill press. So Here we go. All right, and there we go. So now we're ready to go ahead and cut the slits for the plexiglass. And well, we're gonna go get to that right now. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start cutting those grooves to the plexiglass. We've done a little bit of math here ahead of time. So we're using setup bars, which I'll leave a link to in the description. We're set up so the blade is 1/4 inch up, and then it's 1/4 inch away from the fence. This will give us a nice, good little spot to work with. All right, and see now we have the groove here, and then we've got a little spot where we can stick our plexiglass in. This is 1/8 inch plexiglass. And if we come down and we're just sliding naturally, we start coming down and we get into about here, and suddenly we can't go any further. So that gives us that whole gap right there to be able to go and get birdseed through, which is going to be perfect. So that's going to work out really well. So we'll just go ahead and do that on the rest of these, and then we'll move to the other side. Okay, this is it. Final assembly. So we're just going to go ahead and get this thing all put back together. Get it all put together, and then we can go ahead and do our thing. We're going to go ahead and cut down the plexiglass. Now in this case, we're going to go ahead and cut it down to about 11 inches to get started for the two birdhouses, and then we'll make mild modifications to it from that point. And then we're also going to be cutting it down to 4/16 for one and 4/1/4 for the other. So we got our plexiglass in, got all the ugly plastic off the sides. So let's go ahead and get this part rocking and rolling here. There we go. I think that's our first part of our birdhouse top on. And then we're going to go ahead and get the second part ready to go and rock and roll that. All right, so we did a last minute design change on here because we realized the fact that we couldn't actually put hooks in the top here without compromising the actual peak itself. So what we did instead was we cut out, and this unfortunately you'll probably need a bandsaw for if you want to do this method. But we cut out this little shape here and basically offset the first small piece. So that way, number one, we actually got a better roof line, so that was pretty cool. But more importantly is now we have this flat area here where we have a ton of surface area to work with. When we put the polyurethane glue in here now, what's going to happen is that it'll fill in this area here, which will make that waterproof, and then we'll be able to put the hooks on, and you'll be able to just hang it from any reasonably strong tree, because this thing does weigh a few pounds. It's not light. So we're going to go ahead and do the glue up here on this last part. And there we go. So that's basically it. You can just use the shavings to fill this in, which is probably what we're going to wind up doing, is actually putting shavings in here, and then we'll just do a quick sand down and it'll be perfectly fine. So it'll have the waterproof glue plus the wood in there, so it'll look really nice. All right, and that's pretty much basically all you have to do for that. And then we'll go and do the next one, and there you go. Okay, so we're down to the final parts. So we're going to go ahead and do our dowels. There you go. Got a nice flush finish on there. All you do is just add glue. So pretty easy. How you do it is you're actually going to push these back in, Now when you go to put the glue in, what you'll find is that suddenly these go in a lot easier. That's just because the glue lubricates the hole, so not a big deal. No dirty jokes on that one, please. Kids watch this stuff sometimes. Next part, we just need to set up the hinges for it and go ahead and get these birdhouses ready to fly. Final part, time to go and put on the hinges. All right, there you go. And this is what it looks like. Not bad, right? Okay, so we are done sanding and doing a little bit of filling to kind of just make these look really nice. So let's go ahead and drill our holes there real quick before we get going on that. And these basically will be where the hooks are going to go in later on, just like they are on this one. All right, looking good. Okay, so applying Danish oil is pretty easy. You basically wipe it on, and then after a little bit, you wipe it off. But ultimately, that's pretty much it. That's all there really is to this part. So the next part here, we'll go ahead and put in the hooks and then get it ready to be hung. Okay, so for the last part, we're going to go ahead and just insert our hooks. This is pretty elementary. You're just going to screw it into the hole you drilled earlier. Okay, there we go. So we got our two hooks on here, and there we go. And that's it. That's all there is to this project. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Once you get the cuts done and everything. And then if you want to do the thing like we did here, just remember you do need to use a bandsaw for that part. When we put the finish on, we only put it on in this section. We didn't put it on here, just to be extra safe. I mean, really, it probably wouldn't matter whether we did it that way or not, but that's how we did it. But yeah, then you can dump your stuff in. If you ever have a problem with this piece of plexiglass, you can always pull it out and replace it. So that's actually kind of nice. Unfortunately, the other side, you're kind of stuck. So there you go. Yeah, that's pretty much it. These things do weigh quite a bit, so make sure that it is a good thick tree branch. I'd say that's probably good. Probably good 5-10 pounds, somewhere in there. I don't know. Never really sat down and weighed it. Maybe I will. But yeah, so that's the whole project. At this point, that's it. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon for all of our newest videos. We've got a lot coming out, so we definitely don't want you missing any. And definitely comment down below on what you think of it, what you might have done different. I always love hearing from you guys. In the meantime, stay safe in the shop.